Okay, so this week's readings, I selected John Winthrop's City of Women by Laurel Ulrich. Basically, this essay explores the lives of 17th century Puritan Massachusetts and women in there. It kind of shares and reveals the social and economic power that they had despite living in a patriarchal society. Um, Living in that patriarchal society, these women managed to manage households, support each other, step in when the men were absent because they were playing a vital role in the community that was overlooked by the men and historians. Ulrich challenges the traditional male centered narrative of early America by showing that women were an active part in shaping colonial America and colonial life. It just wasn't talked about. Some of the topics that I found interesting were reinterpreting Puritan society, where there were challenges made to the traditional ideas of Puritan New England, where it was all strictly patriarchal, male dominated. Women were there. Um, she said, looks at the Puritan technology and law that were undeniably patriarchal, but then she goes into discussing how women were able to carve out social, economic, and political influence in their daily lives, despite it being a male dominated society. Um, Men were absent a lot due to going to war, off making trade, other public duties. So it became the women's job to manage the family farms, family businesses, and run the households. In doing this, women often function as the heads of households because the husbands would be away for long periods of time, possibly, and their authority in domestic and economic matters was both necessary and recognized within the family structure. She also looks at community and female networks where females within Puritan colonial life were networking with each other. They were communicating with each other. They were taking care of each other. They had a strong network themselves, just like the men did. And the way they did it was they supported each other in childbirth, midwife, moral guidance to each other, just the basic things that we think of for women to do. But this is how they supported each other. Um, they also wielded informal but significant power, often outside of the male authority. If you think about it, women influence things behind the scenes in a lot of situations during this time. And historians, again, tend to overlook women and what they contributed. Um, Social order and conflict. In John Winthrop's journals, he talks about the anxiety about women who challenged their gender roles and got out there and did things like public speaking or led religious gatherings. And he documented and criticized these women as not doing what is traditionally accepted. Um, he also indicates that women's agency was visible and at times seen as threatening to the male authority of the time. Again, these women were doing things and getting together and communicating and talking and sharing, all when the men were not around. So that was building their authority without anybody knowing. And lastly, agency within constraints. While women operated within restrictive legal and theological systems, so they weren't out there like the men. They still exercised their stuff through kinship, community roles, household management. The women talked. Okay? Um, so Ulrich discusses how this does not meet with Puritan women were liberated and like women today, but that they found ways to influence the world within their constraints and not held back in ways that we traditionally read about when we look at colonial history. Thank you.